Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. Before I begin, just a couple quick announcements as usual. If you're interested in signing up for any of the classes that I do offer, the way to do that is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com /Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. That's patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. Tier 3 is the tier that you want to join. That will give you access to the 3 monthly classes that I do on Patreon every month. Just for Patreon members only. It also gives you access to the ritual we do as a group together at the end of the month. Also keep in mind, when you do join, you not only get access to the classes that you sign up at that moment moving forward, you get access to all the archive classes, even long before you signed up. And there's a lot of material and content, a lot of ongoing series of classes on there. Egyptian Vampiric class, Luciferian Magic and Self-Mastery class, Telepathic Sorcery, Sith classes, Kundalini Meditation and Awakening class, Shadow Work classes, 18 deep and counting, and Esoterical Occult Bible Study class, Eastern Left-Hand Path Occult class. I mean, the list goes on and on. I pretty much cover a wide range of topics. It's pretty much there. So check that out, patreon.com /Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. There are mentorship tiers if you're looking for that one-on-one mentorship. But please, if you sign up for the mentorship tiers, it's a time investment, okay? My time is super precious to me. I don't want to waste your time. Please don't waste my time. That's if you're looking to take that up to the next notch. So you can check all that out, patreon.com /Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I do offer various different types of readings, telepathic demonic readings, shadow work readings, which is always great to do at any moment, anytime. We're always working with the shadow of the hidden self. Deity readings to see what spirits and gods and goddesses walk with you. Egyptian oracle readings. Santa Muerte readings. Just shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you the information on how to book a spiritual consultation or a spiritual reading. Also, the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is in full effect. You can sign up and register for that now. It's a 4-day event from October 19th to the 22nd of October. We have a meet and greet on Thursday, classes and workshops on Friday and Saturday from 9 to 4 p.m. We come back on Friday and Saturday evening with a group ritual, and followed by a group dinner on both nights with some socializing, entertaining, hanging out, listening to some music. It's going to be a fun-filled event. Learning, rituals, and also kicking it and having some fun. And then on Sunday from noon to 4 p.m., I will be doing a Q&A session. Just about on anything you want to ask on the occult or anything you want to ask about that transpired during the conference. All right. Also, you can attend the conference virtually, which gives you access to the classes, workshops, and presentations on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information of how you can sign up and register for the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. Also, all this content is also being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast, which can be found on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, along with my contact email address, along with the direct link to the Patreon page to sign up for classes, is in the description box of this video. All right? So I kind of want to keep kind of piggybacking off of some of these topics. We talked about last video the importance of having knowledge of self, staying grounded and staying harmonized. This I want to talk about the importance of, again, releasing old paradigms, old doctrines, old belief systems. You got to let faith and belief go. You got to let religions go, because religion is a cancer. Religion is a toxic poison that infects the intellect of an intelligent thinking being. So last video I received some emails about that, if I could talk about, which this comes up a lot, And I used to do a lot of classes on that type of stuff back in the day. But yes, let's revisit it real quick. If we could break down the origin of this mythological monotheistic God, this whole religious thing that people still struggle with, unfortunately. People still stuck in the faith and belief paradigm. We've been talking a lot lately about not carrying over a lot of the old ways that you had from previous spiritual paths, how that can obstruct and block your spiritual growth on the path to self-mastery and the occult, right? Now, what I tend to find out, as I've said on and off over the years in different classes and videos and things of that nature, a lot of people think they're past that religious mindset, right? Most people will tell you that's on this path. Oh, no, I don't deal with that. Oh, no, I'm past that. Oh, no. But what they tend to not take into consideration on a very deeper level is how it really affects them on a subconscious level, on a level that they're not fully aware of. So, yeah, I get it when somebody consciously says, oh, no, I'm past that. Oh, no, I don't deal with any of those religious concepts or monotheistic belief systems, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever it may be. Okay. A true telltale sign of that, though, is by the person's behavior and actions and their approach on this path. As I said before, there's not one official, correct, or right way to do things when it comes to your spiritual path, right? As that famous saying by Nietzsche that I've quoted many times, you have your way, I have my way. As for the one way or the only way to do things, it doesn't exist. Okay? And that's what makes the path to self-mastery unique, because you're laying out and designing your path as you are navigating and traveling it, right? You're laying the foundation. You're laying the road based on what you embrace, based on what you accept, based on what resonates with you. You filter out what doesn't, this, that, and the third, whatever. So, as I've said many times before, sometimes people's approach, and they're not aware of it, does come off being very religious. Now, again, whether it's a particular spiritual system within the occult, I don't care if it's Luciferian practice or whatever it may be. Yes, there's different perspectives on it. Yes, people are going to have different, ideologies and understandings, right? And that's okay. But in my opinion, to truly be on this path, I don't think you can approach it with the mindset of just faith and belief, and that there's some most importantly, that there's some a force outside of you that is superior to you, and you are inferior to it. Okay? Now, some people look at the adversary like a Christian looks at God of the Bible. I got to call it for what it is. So even we're not guilty. Even we're not, obsolete of that. I'm saying some people on the path of the occult, not me per se, or others who completely reject that, which I do 150%. But to me, you defeat the purpose of what this path is if you're still approaching the adversary in whatever form you acknowledge: Lucifer, Satan, Iblis, Shaitan, Set, Satuk, Seth, whatever mask of the adversary. If you still look at it and approach it like a Christian would God or Jesus, you're still in the realm of faith, belief, or as I like to say, make believe. Okay, now you're back to square one. And to me, this path is the complete, everything that this path represents is the complete opposite of that. Okay, so I think you're taking a step backwards. Now look, as I said before, I don't tell people what they should and should not do. So what I'm saying now, I'm just offering. You could look at it as advice. You could look at it as my opinion. And, you know, opinions don't, you know, not necessarily have to be taken for fact. As far as I'm not making an opinion or a statement that it is, you know, that's what it is, set in stone. But I can tell you, most people that are on this path, that are really on the path of liberation, that are really connected to the isolated consciousness of the adversary, whether it's in the form of set, will tell you that was one of the things that's most crucial that an individual has to leave behind, right? Because remember, this path, when you enter this path, your goal is to rid yourself of all of those things that serve you no purpose, right? As we talked about recently, things about yourself that need to be devoured or destroyed and built back up, because that's what you're basically doing. It's like you're reconstructing the house that has certain issues that needs to be repaired or worked on, right? So that's what you do when you come on this path. So carrying old methodologies, old faith and belief systems, old paradigms, consciously or unconsciously, can be very damaging to the individual's growth on this path, 100%. Okay? So my suggestion, okay, and again, I don't tell people what they should or should not do, so it's a suggestion. I wouldn't fuck with none of it. Okay? Let's put it to bed. There is no such thing as some spooky god or old man god with a long white beard sitting somewhere up there in the sky, way out there in the heavens somewhere, keeping score of everything. Okay? There is no Jesus gonna come cracking out of the sky in some mythological form of the rapture all this is fear tactics. All this is to keep people in alignment with this ignorance they've been putting out for even longer, for a long time. Okay? I still get people who are on the path of the occult when they're talking about, I don't want to put it out there but I still get people that claim to be on the occult, but still you could see subconsciously they're indoctrinated with this fear. Okay? We don't operate on fear. Fear breeds ignorance. So does religious dogma and doctrine. Okay? As I've said many times before, it all comes from mythologies that predated. When you are reading your biblical stories of creation, especially in the first 7 chapters of Genesis, you're reading basically a watered-down version of the Atrahasis in the ancient Sumerian tablets. You can find a lot of these characters who predate the origin of the Bible just under different names with an identical story, right? You can find the story in the Sumerian tablets of a character called Utnapishtim, and it's about the flood story. It's identical to the Noah story. You can find the story of Thutmose I of ancient Egypt having to drive the Hyksos or the Hyksos out of Egypt, invaders. And they resided there for 400 years before they drove them out. Very similar to your Exodus story. Look, to break this mental indoctrination of religion, all you have to do is simple, basic fact check and ask simple, basic questions. And I always approach a religious person with this. The foundation of God's chosen people, according to the Bible, who are called Israelites, is the foundation of the Israelites and the Exodus story, right? If that is debunked, that pretty much kills the whole foundation of their Bible, okay? There is nowhere on record anywhere in ancient Egypt by name of any group of people called Israelites that were in bondage in Egypt for 430 years, okay? We know the Egyptians were meticulous and detailed in keeping records. If any people resided there for 400 plus years, there would be some record of it. Okay? I've showed you guys before in the Oxford Annotated Bible, the 3rd edition, in the essay section, all these worldwide biblical scholars, these reverends and evangelists, and they're all in there, all the bigwigs that you know by name, in their research have admitted and concluded in there, yes, we can't find a specific trace of people called the Israelites, but it seems it could be grafted from the story of the Hyksos, or the Hekakasut, the shepherd kings, who were the Indo-Aryan Greek invaders who came into Egypt, right? Because the word Egypt comes from Egyptos, which is a Greek word which means burnt. And the reason why the Hyksos dynasty, or the last 46 dynasties of Egypt, were called the Hyksos, was because, or the Egyptos, was the sun burnt their faces, so they were called Egyptos. Egypt isn't the original name of Egypt. I've talked about this many times. Okay? You're reading a book that's a conglomeration of cultures from other texts that predated by thousands of years or more. Okay? So even the biblical scholars, the top so-called scholars, have admitted they can't trace anywhere in Egypt of this story being factual. They give you a supposed, could have came from here, there, or that, but then they narrow it down to the story of Thutmose the First driving the Hyksos out of Egypt. Okay? It's almost the identical story of Moses and the Israelites and the Exodus. So what essentially we have here, and that's just one of many. I could be on here for hours talking about this. And as you guys know who are on the Patreon page, this is the type of stuff we talk about in the Esoterical Occult Bible Study class, where in that class we go through the entire Bible, from Genesis to Revelations and the Quran, giving you the occult or the hidden meaning of what these books, their origins, where they came from, what these stories really represent, who these characters really were, as opposed to who they're being led to believe in these more modern day stories. You're going to find majority of your biblical characters come from a culture, a text that predate what you're calling the Bible. Okay? As I said a minute or two ago, the Atra Hasis is basically the first 7 chapters of Genesis watered down. Okay? And this is not a coincidence. So this is why religion can be very confusing because it's pulling from multiple sources that predate it. So it can be a little complex and confusing. And this is why people argue, fight, debate, discuss, rationalize, theorize, all that shit. Because it's just one big ass ball of confusion. Okay? We have to, and it's tough because here in the West, it's one of the biggest spells of indoctrination on the mind of most folks, even in 2023, right? But we have to let all that stuff go. Okay, we have to let that, the mythological spook god, put it to rest, people. It's not real. Okay, their stories are not real. Their mythologies that they've taken and have tried to fool the masses to believe that these are literal. Okay? And as I said, religion is one of the #1 weapons or tool used to control the masses. Okay? Because it has a bunch of do's and don'ts. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can do this. You can't do that. You can only do this if such. You can't wear this. You can't wear that. Can't eat this. It's just, it dictates to you every aspect of your existence. It's got rules, regulations, laws you have to follow. Okay? And a lot of shit is common sense, but it just goes from there into a bunch of other bullshit. It controls every facet of your life to the very point, even of how you think. You can't think on your own. Religion thinks for you. because it tells you again in every facet of your existence what you can or cannot do. So it keeps you controlled by those rules and restrictions and all these things that regulate your intellect, as I like to say. It keeps you confined in a box. It gives you tunnel vision, where you don't even think outside of the system of faith and belief that they imposed upon you. Okay? I'm telling you, no matter how much time goes by, no matter how many years you've been on this path, or how old you are in life, if you're older or up there in age, this topic never goes away. That's how deep this mental indoctrination and program of religion is. But it uses the one key factor of your emotions that puts you in a state of being able to be taken advantage of and controlled, and that's fear, right? Let me just go to show you how deep fear is. I remember every time, it's crazy, every time some type of impactful event happens, cataclysmic event, or some a fearful event that takes place. I remember, for an example, show you how programmed people are. Recently, we just passed the anniversary of 9/11, right? Which is something we can never forget, right? I'm not one of them people that sit here, look, I'm not even going to waste my time getting into conspiracy theories, this, that, or the other. But I remember, my whole point being is not to get into the whole, because we know all the shit out there that's out there on it. I don't want to even get into that. But I remember when 9/11 happened. I'll never forget this. Some people thought it was a sign of the end of the world and doomsday. Motherfuckers was packing churches again, running back into places of worship out of fear, because they've been automatically programmed. And a lot of these motherfuckers wasn't going to church like that. And I'm talking about, even some people I know when I was in New York at the time. I'm talking about people who really weren't even religious, but may have been brought up in a Catholic household or whatever, but weren't going to church like that. I remember these motherfuckers running into the church out of fear, trying to get right with this so-called monotheistic God. That's how deep the spell is. So immediately, even with COVID, fast forward up until recent, this shit was going on when that first wave of COVID hit too, right? People just regressed back into a state of fear. The end of the world. Jesus is coming. I saw there's people down here where I live here in South Florida, people standing on the corner with signs, Jesus is coming. It just goes to show you how deep that program. Look, it's very easy to take something out of the Bible. Oh, in Matthew, when there's wars and rumors of wars and pestilences and earthquakes, that shit been going on for years. It's very easy to take a current event or a news story in the news and then connect it to something in the Bible. You can pretty much do that with anything. Okay, that's very vague and it's very stupid to do that shit. Okay? But it goes to show you how easy it is for the powers that be that control the masses to program people through fear. To program people through religion. It's a combination of both. Religion and fear. Do as you're told. If you do as you're told and you follow all the rules, there's a great reward waiting for you in the afterlife, right? That's what they're told. That's what they tell you. Shit is crazy. People just don't know how to even rationally think. It's funny because a lot of these people, they're not really spiritual / religious, but they become that when some serious event goes down or takes place. So the question is, what snaps inside of their mind that makes them react like that? That's that deep internal programming that I'm talking about that most people are not aware that's there. It takes something to trigger it. And this is why we do shadow work. There's a lot of hidden fears. They're hidden But there's certain things that trigger it and bring it out. And it shows in the way people react or respond. That's going to be my next video. Are you proactive or reactive? I'm going to talk a little bit about that and being a critical thinker, but not in this one. I'm about to wrap this one up. But it goes to show you how there's stuff deeply programmed in our subconscious mind, and they know the right triggers to activate it. So I say that because I use those examples of what I just said to show you how automatically an individual is programmed on that level. 9/11, oh, the world's coming. I better get right with Allah or God or Jehovah or Yahweh or whatever you refer to it as. Right? That's that fear. Here's the reality when you really understand what's going on out here in life. Okay? The fucked up part is it ain't got nothing to do with any of that stuff. Okay? That ain't going to do anything for you. It's not going to help you in any shape, form, or fashion. The helping hand you've been looking for from day one is at the end of your arm. The God you've been looking for, as I've said many times, all you had to do was get up and look in the mirror. That's the trick. To keep you searching for something that does not exist. And it's sad because people spend their whole lives searching for this thing that unfortunately it just isn't real or it does not exist. It's sad. But this is where we're at. And even in 2023, it's the same old tired arguments, the same old tired debates, the same arguing back and forth for absolutely no reason at all. Because guess what? At the end of the day, nothing is accomplished. This person's ego might have got stroked. This person's ego might have got stroked. Everybody wants to walk away from the conversation feeling like they right, I'm right, you're wrong, I know everything, you don't know shit. My last and final message to you before I end this video. People, leave it all alone. Let it go. You have to let all those old ways of thinking, religions, faith and belief systems you used to belong to, they got to go, people. You can't keep holding on to them if you want to progress on this path. All right? That's going to wrap it up for me. I am at my destination. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading, a consultation, if you need information on the Journey of the Black Adept Conference, classes, everything to do that is in the description box of this video. The Patreon link, the podcast link, the contact email, everything is in the description box of the video. All right? We'll talk again soon on the next video. Infernal blessings. I'm out of here.